Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have an amazing guest. We have Jeanette. She is Miss Fit Vegan on YouTube and Instagram. She is amazing. She is everywhere. And she really makes the raw food lifestyle look fun, look amazing, look fit. And she has been doing a fruit-based raw vegan lifestyle for 11 years now. So we're going to talk about how she makes that work, her story, and so many amazing things. So let's get right into it. Give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. I produce great content every single week. And let's get right into it. Hey, Jeanette, how's it going?
Hey girl, what's up? It's so nice to meet you. I'm a big fan and I love your channel and thank you for having me.
Thanks. I'm so happy to have you on. You're so eye-catching. I always see you on Instagram. You're so bubbly, positive. You make the lifestyle look sexy, look good, look fun. So I can't wait to hear your story. I would love to like rewind and start back to, I guess, around 11 years ago or so. I always love to start with like what led you to being raw vegan.
Yeah, great question. Well, thank you for the compliments and the really nice words. My motto is eat fruit and be cute. So, I'm trying
Yeah.
to express that in everything I do. So, I went vegetarian in 2010, right after I saw a documentary called Food Inc. I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I have seen it.
Yeah, and this was the first time I ever witnessed an animal being hurt. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I've never seen a farm animal in person, a cow, a chicken, a pig. I've never, met these animals in real life. And so when I saw a cow, I'll never forget, there's a scene in Food Inc. where a cow was being pushed into the slaughterhouse because it was not able to walk in. Okay, it was too hurt. And
Oh,
I have goosebumps because that was the moment my whole life changed. I was working in the music industry at the time. So I went to school for audio engineering and I was working at Sony at the time and in New York. And I was having an amazing career in music. But unfortunately, after I saw that, Jillian, I was like, oh, I really don't care that much about music anymore because I love music, but like I cannot sit back and just let this continue happening. So I started to get into health and I quit my job and I got a job at a vegetarian health food store in New York. And that is where in 2011 I learned about the raw food diet. I honestly only tried that because I wanted to clear my skin. I had really bad acne my entire life. And I would do anything to clear my skin. And so I tried the raw food diet in 2011 and I've never looked back. So much has changed. Obviously, yet my skin has changed a lot. And I never thought I would be able to be on like a show like yours without makeup. I have lip balm on and some mascara, but I don't wear any face makeup. My skin is very sensitive. And so raw foods is what completely changed my skin, my mood, my life. I'll definitely love to talk to you about depression, which is one of the main things that I suffered from. And I didn't realize it was what I was eating. Of course, I lost weight. I feel so much more energetic. My migraines went away. So much has changed. I used to have a lot of mucus and sinus issues, and all because of what I was eating, And a lot of the things I thought were genetic for me, my family is overweight. We have a lot of health issues in my family, diabetes. My sister has passed away from cancer. So there's a lot of sickness in my family. And, I'm the only raw vegan and I'm also the only one that's really thriving. So that's where I began. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I was going to ask you, you talked a bit about depression before you said that. I was going to ask you, like, were you always this happy? Because you're so happy.
Yeah, definitely not. So now I wake up, I literally feel like dancing, and I'm sure you can relate to this.
Yeah.
Like my mood has changed so much because now I know food equals mood. I never realized this, I just thought that like outside circumstances, if they changed, then I would change. But it turns out that happiness comes from within. And yeah, I was honestly, I never like tried to commit suicide, but I was quite depressed and even contemplating that as a teenager and in my 20s, dealing with skin issues. Have you ever dealt with like acne and skin issues?
Yeah, I had it actually really bad my whole life, like ever since I was a teenager on my back. So it was really bad on my back. And then also like the last few years before I went raw, it was really bad on my upper thighs. But then when I cut gluten and dairy, it was a huge difference with like reducing it.
So not on your face, but on your
Not as
back.
much on my face, just now and then. And
Wow.
now, like, I'll get like one pimple on my face if I'm ovulating. I notice because like the hormones, or if I'm near my period. But otherwise, no, I've never really had it much, like a bit when I was a teenager, but mostly on my body. And I just felt gross, like, and I'd want to wear a bathing suit. And it's just like your back is like that. So the diet really is. And I was never someone who people would compliment their skin. But now, like all the time, people are like, nice skin. It's just like the lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I mean, your skin is glowing and you are so beautiful.
Thank you. You too. You're amazing.
Thank you, Boo. So yeah, so you know what it's like, and everybody watching knows that as a teenager and in your 20s, as a female, I can only speak from my perspective. It is so debilitating and hard. It's really hard to deal with acne and feeling embarrassed just to go outside. And I also had lots of acne on my body. I still have some scars that it takes a while for them to go away. And I could never wear certain things because I had acne on my body as well. So, it was just really, really difficult. And, people made fun of me. And I was definitely never in a good mood or happy or bubbly because I just really did not like the way I looked at all. And so I had very low self esteem my whole life. And it really was only until a few years ago that I actually let that go because, if you've been overweight or which I was also, but if you've dealt with acne and, issues with your appearance, you can change the outside, but then on the inside, you still feel the same. So just recently, I've started to like love and accept myself 100%. I wrote this book called the Raw Vegan Beauty Book about it because it's like I was still feeling like an overweight person with acne, and I didn't have the extra weight, I didn't have the acne
Mm.
anymore, but inside didn't change. And so yeah, that is definitely not the way I was as a teenager. I was not a happy person or bubbly or energetic, but
Yeah.
you eat this food and it transforms you from the inside out, not just the way you look, your mood, your perspective on life. I'm sure so many ways that you used to see the world, now it's like no big deal, or now it's just like you see the opportunity instead of the problem. So
Absolutely. And I'll link that book and all your stuff down
oh,
below.
thank
And I feel
you.
like it's like you're like a butterfly who's come to life. It's truly beautiful. It's been
Thank
the same
you.
thing for me. If you saw me as a teenager, you literally wouldn't even, even in my 20s, I look back and I'm like, who is that person? Right. When I used to drink and like barbecue every day. And like I look at pictures of myself, I literally feel like I'm looking at a different person. Unless it's like that for everyone when they're 10 years older looking back. But I don't know. Like it's just so different looking back.
Yeah, your before, yeah, it's not the same person. It's not
No.
the same person at all. And I completely can relate to that. When I was 20, I truly looked like I was 40. And now that I'm almost 40, I'm not
You
saying I look
too.
20, but
You do. You look amazing. So I'm wondering too, I read something, I think it was in one of your posts, and I found it really interesting because I know with raw vegans, people always wonder, well, did you try like a healthy lifestyle before? In their mind, healthy being like lean chicken, like fish, like salmon, eggs, and then no processed food, but like a clean plants involved as well. So I saw in one of your posts that like you did do that, and it was interesting. Like at those points in your life, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you were pre-diabetic, I think. You had iron problems and you had vitamin D problems. So I find this super fascinating because a lot of people assume that these are the type of problems that you will adopt when you go on a raw vegan diet. So correct me if
yes.
I'm wrong about this post, or if this is true, I would love you to elaborate on this happening.
Yes, this is true. So, my healing journey back to health really started when I was 14. Like I said, I had very bad acne. It started when I was 12, 13, and I was like, oh my God, I need to do something about this. I can't leave the house. I can't go to school. So, I started researching and I got a juicer and I started juicing. But I was eating, I was still eating animal body parts 3 times a day. Okay. Chicken, like I would eat eggs in the morning and then chicken for lunch and then chicken or fish for dinner. And that's what I knew, but I was always researching how to be healthy since I'm around 14. So I was always on diets. I was always trying my best. I was always trying to, the whole grain bread instead of the white
Mm.
bread, and the brown rice instead of the white rice. And so, I remember taking like probiotics in my teenage years. And then of course as I got more information, I started eating healthier and healthier. But it was not until I saw Food Inc. that I was aware that animals were like, that is what I was eating. I
Hmm.
was completely disassociating the animal body part that I bought in the store to an actual living being. So thank God that documentaries like that exist, because if not for that documentary, I would have never discovered the raw food diet. And just so everybody knows, I was vegetarian for a year, not exactly healthy because I didn't know what to eat, without my lean chicken and my fish. And by the way, I never really ate processed food. There was a while where I did not eat any processed food, trying to heal my skin, and I still had bad issues. And then while I was a vegetarian, I remember eating really bad because I didn't know what the hell to eat. And so I was eating a lot of peanut butter and jellies and a lot of just like yogurt and fish. I didn't know anything about fruit and vegetables, like, yeah, vegetables, yes, but fruit had a lot of sugar. I was always afraid of sugar. And even eating cooked food doesn't work for me. And it could work for someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, this is the lifestyle for sure I was born to live.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's had like such a positive impact on your life. And again, I agree, like everyone has to do what's exactly right for them, no matter what path that is, whether that's the medical path or the health path. For me too, like this health route has just totally transformed me as a human being. And I'm so interested. So you are fruit based and talking about sugars and all the sugars, like I'm just wondering, like, when you first started going raw vegan, were you vegetable based too, more of a balance, and then you graduated into being more fruit based, or how did that come about? And why do you feel like that works for you versus being more balanced and having more vegetables or being more vegetable based?
Yes, great question. So when I first went raw vegan, it was because of David Wolf. So he inspired me. And so I was having nuts for breakfast, avocado for lunch,
Wow.
and avocado and some raw vegan gourmet stuff for dinner. So there was no fruit, really any fruit. And there was a little bit of salad with the gourmet raw vegan food. Okay. So New York City was an amazing place to go raw because you can eat raw vegan tacos, tostadas, pizza, all that stuff every night. And of
Yeah.
course, I had a good job. So if you have money to do that, you can really live the life as a raw vegan in New York. And what happened was I actually gained weight. My
Wow.
skin got greasier and oilier because I was eating so much oil. Okay. And, in the beginning, it like cleared up a little bit, but then it got worse and worse because of the oil and the salt and the dehydrated food. And so I needed to find what I was doing wrong because I thought this was the ultimate
Mm.
diet, right? Like, I feel like people like us that are interested in nutrition, we're looking for like the ultimate, like,
Hmm.
what's the best way? And so this wasn't the best, this wasn't working for me. So I was doing research and I came across the raw food diet, which is like a fruit based version. And I was like, okay, so fruit is good. And so I started understanding that what I knew about fruit was wrong. The sugar in fruit is not the same as the sugar in Twinkies, apparently.
Yeah.
So apparently our bodies love sugar from fruit. It runs really well because it doesn't have to convert the fat or the protein into glucose. If we just eat fruit that is high in glucose, it can just use that for fuel. And so I started with breakfast, and this is what I always recommend to everyone. No, let me go back. I actually started my high fruit diet, Jillian. This is hilarious because I'm an Aries. What sign are you?
Leo. Well, I'm Virgo or Leo. It's on the cusp, August 23rd. I think it's Leo. I don't
Oh,
know.
you're on the
Yeah.
cusp.
Yeah.
Okay. Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm an Aries. We are 0 or 100. So when I discovered a high fruit diet, I went on this is crazy. I went on a 7-day banana diet, banana girl diet
I
cleanse.
did that. It's not crazy. I've done all that. So it's not crazy at all.
I did a lot of cleanses in my past life. Now I have a different view on them, but I did lots of juice cleanses, lots of mono fruit meal cleanses, and I did 7 days just on bananas. And the first day, I got so dizzy and I got so lightheaded and just really nauseous that I had to like sit. I couldn't leave work, but I had to like sit in the back for like an hour because I just could not function. It turns out, it's hard to go from zero fruit, like very little fruit, to a lot of
Yeah.
fruit, and I ate like 10 bananas that day. Meanwhile, I hadn't had like, I maybe had one banana,
So
the day
maybe it could be
before.
dangerous for some people, right? Like if they just go from a standard American diet to like, let's eat bananas for a week, maybe they could pass out, end up in the hospital, right? Like who knows?
Perhaps don't do just fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always recommend fruit for breakfast to start.
Mhm.
Start with fruit for breakfast. Okay, because fruit is so cleansing and powerful that it's not the fruit that's doing, the negative side effects to you. It's the stuff coming out because your
Mhm.
body's finally like, oh my God, yes, this is what I need. I will release the stuff that I don't need. And sometimes that could be really like too much, right? I mean, now
Mhm.
I know how to do it properly and how to help people transition. But back then I was, okay, I'll do it. 7 days on
Yeah.
bananas. And it was so, but of course, me being an Aries, I was not giving up. So I went the full 7 days. I was fine after the first day, but looking back, I would have definitely slowly transitioned. Yeah. I forgot your question. Oh,
And I'm
oh,
wondering
did I?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't start out as a high fruit
Yeah.
raw vegan, but now I eat mostly fruit. Of course, I like to have a big salad at night. So it's fruit during the day, fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch. And then for dinner is a big, big salad. There's a lot of fruit in there still, which is cucumbers, tomatoes, things like that, zucchini. But I also like to have a really nice savory dressing because by the end of the night, I'm craving something more salty and savory. I've had
Yeah.
sweet all day.
And what's your favorite dressing?
Oh my God, I have so many, but lately I've been loving to do Brazil nuts, lemon, dates, like 1 or 2 dates. I put in some, like maybe half a tomato, some greens, and sometimes I put in some green onion or some garlic. Blend that up with a little water.
Wow, that sounds good. So I'm
It's
wondering
so
too,
good.
all these years fruit based, a lot of people would think like dental problems, enamel problems, all of this. Have you experienced any of this? And have you experienced any deteriorating symptoms as far as like hair loss, energy loss, all that sorts of stuff goes?
Yes, that's a very popular question. Yes, I did have major issues with my teeth, and it was a very scary time in my life a few years ago. I went to the dentist one day, and the dentist said and I went to the dentist because I bit into a fork and my tooth chipped from biting
Whoa.
into the fork. And so I was having some pain for a while, but like I was just trying to ignore it, keep eating raw, everything's going to be fine.
Mhm.
And I went to the dentist and she told me that I had the teeth of a 75-year-old. They were so soft, the enamel.
What? Wow.
Yeah. I was 30 something, early 30s. So she was very concerned. She thought it was the fruit. I thought it was the fruit. I was freaking out. And I did a lot of research and I started to talk to some of my mentors and people that I look up to. And it turns out it was an abundance of dried fruit, specifically dried mangoes, dried bananas, dried persimmons, and dates. And
Mhm.
I'm talking about like I would have these as a meal and I would have these every day. And I wouldn't floss right after. I wouldn't water pick. I wouldn't swish with water. I wouldn't eat greens afterwards. I do not recommend that anybody eats dried fruit in abundance. Now I don't eat it at all. As soon as I gave up the dried fruit, my teeth started to heal. Another thing that it was probably a contributor to this, Jillian, is that I worked at a juice place for the last 10 years. I worked at two different organic raw vegan establishments, and I had lots of juice every day, specifically orange juice. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of those oranges were not ripe when they were juiced. And so I
Mm.
believe that you can cause enamel damage drinking lots of unripe, citrus juice. And so I gave up that. Now,
Wow.
if I want citrus juice, I will juice it myself. And I also gave up the dried fruit. No more pain. My teeth have not had any issues since then. I'm still dealing with the damage because, teeth don't grow back.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's what I recommend. And then I talk a lot more about teeth in a video that I have on YouTube as well, because it's been very, very scary. And I've had to like do a lot to help regenerate my enamel again.
Yeah, and it's great. At least you can help people with your knowledge and that
Yes,
experience from that
exactly.
happening. So I'm wondering, with those things in mind, would you say there's any other mistakes you've made over the years? Maybe something you could, looking back, like you would change that you could help somebody else that's getting started right now?
Absolutely. So many. One of the biggest mistakes I made, Jillian, is that I thought that diet was everything. I thought that if I ate perfect, 100% organic, 100% raw vegan, no deviations, that I was going to be in perfect health. And it turns out it's not true. So I have learned that our health is 50% diet and lifestyle and 50% everything else. Fitness, how we sleep, dealing with our emotions, doing things we love, living a life of passion that we're happy with, not being around toxic people. That stuff really affects our health. And I was always someone who was working. I was a workaholic, and I just never ever did anything for myself besides eat raw. I never exercised. I never dealt with my emotions. I didn't even think I had emotions. I didn't care about emotions, and now I realize that this is such an important part. Another thing that I did that was really bad, I used to eat very late at night. So I had a very busy job. I would run around all day, taking care of everything, putting out fires and like dealing with HR issues and like all these different, responsibilities of my job. And then I would get home at night and that's when I would eat. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I did that for years and years and years. And I'm amazed that I'm like in as good of health as I am, but I still suffered from health issues, lots of bloating, lots of indigestion, lots of, just going to the bathroom only once a day as a raw vegan. That's not exactly healthy, so I was definitely constipated, just putting work before myself and my health. That is a big mistake that I made. And lastly, I mean, I made like hundreds, but the last mistake I will say is that I was super against any supplements or any powders or any help from, the technology we have. I was like, nope, if it's not in nature, I'm not going to eat it. But like, I have learned now that if you are deficient in something, you need to take a supplement. You really should consider doing that. If you are deficient, go get checked. I was vitamin D deficient for 8 years in New York City. I was a raw vegan, and I was a raw vegan. And then I finally got my blood checked and I was super low in vitamin D. And, now I've learned that you can make your own vitamin D supplements, actually. Chris Kendall. Have you interviewed him yet?
I did. I haven't posted it yet. When this interview is posted,
Ooh.
it'll probably be on. If it is, I'll link it down below. But I did. Yeah, he's an 18-year raw vegan. I did. He was awesome too.
He taught me, I love him. He taught me how to make my own vitamin D supplements from mushrooms in the sun.
Wow.
Crazy. I don't need them now because I moved to Miami. But if anybody out there is still living in a cold climate, this is check out Chris Kendall. He will help you with that. And now I'm open to supplements, and then I do take a few, and I wish I had less of an ego back then and would have like taken them sooner.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were in Miami. I love Miami, and I love New York too. That's awesome. You're in New York. It's my favorite.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a bit about fitness. So I'm assuming you work out a lot. I'm wondering, do you sort of like, do you think about protein? Do you use a protein powder? And how do you feel your performances and your workouts are on this diet?
Thank you for asking. So I work out every single day, but I mean, the reason I called myself Misfit Vegan is because I always felt like a misfit. Like I always felt out of place, especially even as a vegan. Like I have lots of vegan friends now, but like we go to restaurants and I don't eat anything that they eat. I just went to eat on Saturday night. I brought some mangoes. And I ate mangoes where everybody else ate the vegan, Beyond Beef and all that stuff. And so I always felt like a weirdo, even in the vegan community. So I call myself Misfit Vegan. I do love to work out though. And I specifically love to do stuff that's fun. I always wanted to be fit and lose weight, but I never knew that I didn't have to go to the gym. I didn't have to suffer through my workouts. I love to bike. I love to dance. I love to do yoga, and I make sure and do something every single day. That is a form of therapy for sure. I never realized it until I started doing it. It has helped me so much with anxiety. I specifically, I'm not the fittest person, as the carnivore community recently pointed out.
You look amazing.
Thank you, Boo. So listen, while you were on your 30-day social media fast.
Yeah.
So somebody in the carnivore community made 4 videos about me, and I got seriously attacked. And I went to watch your videos for inspiration, because I was like, all right, everything's going to be okay. But like, I got so many nasty, nasty emails and DMs and Miss Fat Vegan, like saying I Miss Unfit Vegan, or I just identify as fit, just really nasty stuff. And you know what? I've totally accepted that, okay, I don't look like a bodybuilder, sure, but I'm way fitter than I used to be. You know, I can run now, I can swim now, I can do yoga now.
You
And I
look
could never
amazing.
have,
This is ridiculous. You look so good and you're so
thank
vibrant, so
you.
happy, and you also look amazing. They must just be, I don't even know what to say there because that's not even true. That's just crazy. Did it
Thank
affect
you.
you? Like when that first started happening with me, like all just publicly, like it affected me. But you know what? I read a book by Wayne Dyer, Real Magic. It really changed my outlook and it really made me realize like it's not good to like feed into it, you know? It's a, like, it's just so important to like release like any hate and anger and just focus on the good. And I can choose what to focus on. So I'm not even gonna pay any attention to it if it happens going forward at all, I feel like. But what was your experience with that and staying positive?
What was the name of the Wayne Dyer book?
Real Magic?
Real Magic. Oh my God. I have to go get that because I actually don't know that one. It's funny you brought up Wayne Dyer because I was listening to There's a Spiritual Solution for Every Problem.
Mm,
That is a book that I recently heard and I was going back to it during this time. So it did affect me slightly because, you know, I was getting like death threats. I was getting such nasty hundreds of DMs a day because this guy
wow.
Sean, I don't even want to say his name, but this
Yeah.
carnivore made 4 videos about me out of nowhere, and I was grateful for the attention because like the more attention, the more people I can help go vegan for sure. I've connected with so many people that say they're really suffering on the carnivore diet, and that
Mm-hmm.
has really truly helped
Mm-hmm.
made my day and made everything worth it because now they're following me and they're like, you inspired me, I'm going to try this lifestyle out. I know that nothing is personal. I know that
Mm-hmm.
only hurt people hurt other people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I know so many beautiful, amazing souls and beautiful people in my life that prove to me that humans are good ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that these people that, you know, sent me death threats and things like that, I know that they actually don't mean it. I wish
Mm-hmm.
them love. I send them love. And I always responded saying, I love you,
That's
you
good.
know,
That's
you know,
respectable. That's nice, you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Got to, because it's not personal. I know that for a fact. It's not, it's just, I'm showing them something that's a little uncomfortable, perhaps, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'll take the heat. You know, I literally know for a fact that I was born to inspire people to eat healthier and leave these animals alone. And so I'll take whatever hate that comes my way. That's okay. And so, yeah, thank you for asking about that. And you really inspired me. And I'm so happy to be talking to you and tell you that.
Thanks. Me too. I'm so happy to have you on. And do you feel like as a result of eating this way, now you're more in alignment with who you are, your higher self, and your purpose? And do you feel like maybe you wouldn't be had you not taken this path?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, for sure. You know, I believe that when you walk with purpose, you collide with destiny. And for sure, my purpose, the reason why I was so depressed prior to this is because I didn't have a purpose in life. I didn't know exactly why I was here and why I was born. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
that everyone is just going to start, if you eat fruit, you'll just
Yeah.
come into yourself and you'll know
Yeah.
why you were here. But I do believe that if you eliminate the stuff that is clogging up your energy fields, you will start to get messages from the universe and you'll start to find out things that you need to know in order to put you on your path that you were born to be on. And I was definitely born to be doing what I'm doing right now. I know it because it feels really good, you know, and that's
Hmm.
how you know we were born to do something. If it gives you energy, if it feels good,
Hmm.
then that's what you should be doing, you know. And if it drains your energy, for sure, that's not for you. So if it gives you
Yeah.
energy, that's part of your life purpose. If it drains your energy, or if anyone drains your energy, it's not for you. It's not here to
Yeah.
serve you,
Yeah. That's exactly true. That's the same with people as well, the people around you.
right?
And you know what is so interesting? On my social media detox, I interviewed this guy, Timothy Schultz, and he attracted, it was all about manifesting. He won 28 million in the Powerball lottery. And he kind of did so using the law of attraction. He had a dream about it and then he believed it would happen. And he now has a channel where he interviews winners and he talks about the law of attraction. And it's just, there's all these law of attraction manifesting stories. So it was really interesting. But with Timothy, oh shit, what was I going to say? I'm going to have to cut this now. I was just going to say something about, oh yeah. So with Timothy, he said even as a lottery winner, like number one to him is purpose. So like I think no matter how much money you have or like anything, like purpose, like we were saying, like is just number one. And I think it's just like so important. And for me too, like the raw living foods have helped like led me to my purpose. And But I get that some people can be eating McDonald's or like they're entertainers and that's their purpose and they can be living that lifestyle and still somehow they are like these just incredible creators. But that is definitely not the case for me. And I feel like it would just open up so many more people to their purpose if they could like clean out their system within.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some people, I was gonna say, absolutely. I can't wait to watch that interview. And I'm really into the law of attraction, self-development, and I'm on my journey to better myself every day because I know that happiness comes from fulfillment and inside. And what you said is so true. Some people are more sensitive than others. I know that
Mhm.
I cannot eat processed food. I cannot eat dead animal body parts. And then some people say they don't like when I say that, right? I just got a comment on my YouTube the other day how like somebody doesn't like when I say dead animal body parts, but like that's what it is.
I mean, that is what it
And
is technically. So
so let's
yeah.
call it what it is. Like I like to live in the reality of things, and the reality is that it's not food. That is a body part.
And it's an
And
energy thing, right? Like over the past, I've been raw vegan almost 6 years. There were a couple times, like early, the first couple years of being raw vegan, where I did try have some animal products. So I have had like salmon or eggs or chicken, like over the years, not for a long time, not for a few years. But it's just such, it's an energy thing. It always changed my energy and it always felt like it disconnected me from like that high vibe and from my true self. And it's just, to me, everything's energy and that's bad energy. Like they're literally slaughtering the animals, right? And then the animals release all these stress hormones, they say too, when that happens, because it's obviously their life is being taken. It's super stressful, right? And then they say like that, those hormones kind of like stay in that meat and goes in you. That's a big reason I don't want to consume it for just for all of that. So I think it's great you speak out about that and that, you know, you're all for the animals like that. Think it's like wonderful and amazing that that documentary changed your life.
yeah, and I also agree totally about the energy thing. I feel it. I feel the energy. I had a very low negative vibration when I was eating that food, and now I feel so high. As soon as I wake up, I literally feel like dancing. I
Mhm.
literally have to put on music to dance because there's so much energy inside of me. And I don't mean to offend anyone out there. I really don't. I'm just speaking my truth. And thank you for your point as well that like what I like to say to people is, listen, if I offend you, you can unfollow me. That's okay. I won't
Mhm.
take it personal. I really
Mhm.
won't. I don't understand these people that come and leave the hate comments because like
Mhm. Me too.
I've never done that. I just unfollow people.
Yeah, because I think
It's
like just focus on what you like then. If you don't like the raw veganism, then go
thank you.
focus on the carnivore channels or create videos around what you think works. Don't fight because you just when you're fighting it, it's not the right approach. That's another thing that the Real Magic book by Wayne Dyer made me realize. Like in life, be what you're for, not what you're against. You know what I mean? Because it's also an energy thing and it's just, yeah.
Well, these haters never make videos, Jillian. So we know that
Yeah.
they never have profile photos either. So
Yeah. No, that's yeah, that's been an adjustment coming onto YouTube, getting used to that. And still, I'm just, you know what I decided now that I've come back off social media, when I see negative comments, like if I do, I have someone close to me too who can like delete the comments and was doing that sometimes when I was off on my break, deleting some of the mean ones going in. But I'm just not even going to feed into them. Like sometimes people would say things and I used to go to like somebody close to me and be like, can you believe they said this? Right. But now I'm just not even going to feed in because you're just feeding into it and your life becomes what you're constantly thinking, feeling, and talking about. Right. And that brings me to a great point. I remember I saw a post you did about positive thinking. So I really realized on my 30 days off, like how important it is to be positive, be exposed to
yes.
positive content, positive people, positive lyrics, even, and also try as much as we can to control our thoughts in a positive manner. So, do you have any tips out there for how people can get more positive with regards to their thoughts? Because then that attracts a better life and a more positive life, right?
Absolutely. You know, what you said is so important. What you put in, you're going to get out. So if you're putting in negative music, like I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And
Mhm.
so I used to listen to, I know every Little Wayne lyric, I know every Jay-Z lyric,
Yeah.
and it's going to stay there forever. But I personally don't listen
Yeah.
to any. Yeah, it's really sad that that occupies a big part of my brain now. But I used to be big fans because I love talented people. I
Mm.
love people that are doing what they were born to do. I love it, but the lyrics are not exactly positive and serving
Mhm.
my higher self. And so I personally now do not listen to negative music. I don't listen to negative gossip. I don't listen to these negative like YouTube videos, or I don't watch a lot of movies either, because I
Mhm.
know that if I want a positive life, what you just said is absolutely true. I've got to focus on the positive. My best friend always says there's no problems, only solutions. And I love that motto. And so one of my best tip to changing your habits and your mind, first of all, realize that your thoughts are not even your thoughts. Those are habitual thoughts that you had, that people might have told you, that you just heard, or you were listening to, or it's from music, whatever it is. That's not your thoughts. The Untethered Soul. I don't know if you read this book yet.
I did years ago. It was really good, by Michael Singer, I think, right?
Yes. This
Yeah.
book changed my life. It helped me understand my thoughts are not mine. And so I like to name the negative thoughts in my head. She has a name. And so I tell, every time she says, I'm not good enough, or I'm not pretty, or I'm not fit, or, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
I tell her, listen, that's a lie. Goodbye. That's you talking. That's not me. All right. And so you got to name that voice. That voice is not you. And then I would definitely recommend listening to positive audio every day, listening to a 10-minute meditation, or one of these like positive videos by Les Brown or
Mhm.
Jim Rohn or Tony Robbins. If you want a positive life, you've got to put in positive audio. Perhaps stay away from the news.
Mhm.
Perhaps stay away from anything that you don't want to manifest, because as you know, we are very powerful beings. We can manifest things, especially eating this way. Okay.
Mhm.
Our channels are clear, much more clear than another person eating very processed garbage. And so we can manifest much quicker than other people. And that's not to say we're better, where this is just the fact we are cleaner inside, right? We're not clogging
Mhm.
up. And, anybody watching this can start today. Breakfast. The best place is to start breakfast. Eat fruit for breakfast, and you're going to start to clear out your energy channels. And you can start to download information and manifest things really
Mhm.
quickly. So we've
Mhm.
got to be careful, because we can manifest things in a negative way too. If we're thinking about how much we don't want something to happen, well,
Mhm.
it might happen because you're focusing on it. So what are you focusing on right now, and do you want that to become your future? And so yeah, that's my best advice. But I love learning about this, so if you have any advice, I would love to know
Yeah.
how to change the negative.
Yeah, and I think just a great way is to just like think of ways that raise your vibration, and then I feel like it just naturally
Mm.
changes your thoughts too. Like for me, really raising my vibration right now is like working out, getting outside in nature is like a huge thing. Going for a walk, going to the lake, then I just automatically feel more positive, and then my thoughts are more positive. Obviously, like eating, watching positive content, being around positive people, all this stuff can really change you. And then again, that book I was talking about, The Real Magic with Wayne Dyer, with regards to thoughts, like he had a really nice point in there how like, yeah, some thoughts aren't our own, and some thoughts like they just come out of nothingness, right? So they're just from nothingness and right there. And then he also said in that book, just like those thoughts can come out of nothingness like that, so can miracles. So I really loved that.
I
Like,
love that.
and that book is just, it made me realize like in order to attract miracles in your life like that, it's really important to let go of any hate in order to like attract miracles and feel love, forgive people that you have hate for. And then like miracles can just come out of nothingness, just like how your thoughts do. Like it doesn't have to be like cause and effect. They can just come out of nothingness. And I love that.
Oh, I love that so much, Jillian. Oh my gosh. And it reminds me of Louise Hay. I'm sure you
Hmm.
know her. I'm a big fan. And she also says that sometimes diseases seem to come out of nothingness. And
Hmm.
so they can also go away and back to nothingness. If we
Exactly.
believe it, our minds are so powerful. I've studied a lot of Bruce Lipton and the placebo effect, because I'm
Hmm.
fascinated at the power of the mind. And this, I
Yeah.
truly believe, is why some raw vegans and some vegans go back to eating animals, and the very next day they feel so much better,
The
because
belief.
the belief, because the mind has really truly convinced them that what if they eat this animal body part, they will feel better, and they do. And so, I'm convinced that it's not the way for me. It's not the way. I don't want to contribute to animal cruelty. I love animals. They're my friends. They're not my food. And so that's my belief, and that's the way I live. And I'm living proof that it's possible. It's been 12 years.
Hmm.
These carnivores, they're hilarious. They said that give me just a few more months and my health is going to deteriorate.
Few more
But
months. You've been going on it for how many months? So like, what's a
it's
few more months? No, they
if
say
you
that on
could
mine.
You could be vegan 50 years, and at year 51, that's when your health is gonna deteriorate to these carnivores. But I just think it's hilarious, and I laugh. And a lot of the comments and the hate really gave me a lot of laughing. Honestly, a lot of
Yeah,
laughter.
good,
Some of them were
good.
really mean and nasty, but a lot of them were just so funny. It was too
Yeah,
good.
some can be mean and nasty. Well, I know for me, if I have cooked food over the years, if I'd had cooked food, even vegan cooked food, like a sweet potato, a lentil soup, or like I said, some animal products, I literally just feel so much for me, so much more tired, dehydrated. I lose that high vibe. Like you were said, you wake up like wanting to dance and like feeling good, listening to music. Like I lose that. And then I'm like, damn, like I just want that back. Why would I do that? And again, I haven't had anything in so long. I don't do it because a main reason, because I want to feel good. And for me, this makes me feel good. Have you experienced that? Have you over the last 11 years ever like fallen off and had animal products or cooked food? And do you notice a difference in how you feel versus being fully raw?
Yes. Okay. So I have tried on like a handful of occasions to eat things, especially when I was a guest at somebody's house,
Mhm.
especially when they specifically made something for me that they knew was, they know I didn't eat oil, I don't eat salt. They like made me a sweet potato. I remember this one instance where somebody made me a sweet potato with my salad, and like there was nothing on it. It was like, you can't have this. And I was like, you know what? I can if I want. So I had it. I woke up the next day like I got hit by a bus. You know, the same
Yeah,
thing.
same thing. Yeah.
Super dehydrated, super tired, like whoa. And I'm not saying that's not a healthy thing to eat. Listen, if you eat sweet potatoes and you feel amazing the next day, then that serves you.
Then go
But
for it, right? Yeah, but
go
yeah.
for it. Any fruit, any vegetable, nuts and seeds, hey, go for it. If no being was hurt in the process, I am so for it. But for me personally, yes, I cannot eat cooked food personally. The only cooked food that I found, because I have tried to experiment just to see what would
Mhm.
happen, is like steamed veggies. So like steamed chard or steamed kale or like any type of steam like peas. Like I can eat that, and I
Mhm.
do sometimes put that in a salad once in a while if I want some more like variety or something like that. I never really experimented with cooked food in New York, and I think it's hilarious when people tell me they can't go raw because of where they live. And like that is
Yeah.
just that doesn't make sense to me because I was a raw vegan in New York for so long, and I just can't. I don't live in the excuses mentality. I say, listen, you can have a result or you can have an excuse, but you can't have both. And so, if you want to make something happen, you gotta make it happen. Like it's just not
Mhm.
gonna happen by accident. And so, I don't accept that as an excuse from people. I just say to them,
Me
hey,
too.
you don't want it. That's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I agree. That's like if people travel for work, I think like you can make it work. Even like New York, I've traveled to so many times. Like, and every time I stay fully raw. Like even in Toronto, I'm in the city. I don't have, well, Eli I have as a raw friend, but no really raw friends, and I'm fully raw. And I'm wondering too, like, how have you made it work in Miami and Toronto and like these, or Miami and New York, these major cities on this lifestyle where people don't eat this way? Like, do you have any tips for like prioritizing yourself, following this diet through, seeing if this lifestyle will work for you in a world that doesn't eat this way?
Yes. My number one tip is to find out like why you're doing this. So like why do you want to do this? Because if you don't know why, you're not going to have the resolve and you're not going to follow through
Mhm.
with it. Okay? So write it down. Like take your phone and put it somewhere for an hour or 30 days. Okay?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
get familiar with who you are, and spend some time with yourself and start writing out, okay, what are the real reasons why I want to do this? Is it because I think I should? And, like I watched a video and I think I should? Or is it because I want to really step into my greatest version? I want to try this out. I want to clear my skin. I want to get rid of my headaches. I want to not be overweight. I deserve to be in amazing health. And then once you figure that out, okay, because you so deserve the health and the body of your dreams, then you can start to get to work on the how. And the how is not as complicated as you think. The way I make it work is that I always prioritize my health. I always prioritize my health. And so I do
Mhm.
go out to eat with people, but I always bring my fruit. Even if there's a salad available, okay, I know for a fact that it's not going to be up to my standard. The dressing's going to have oil in it. The salad's probably not going to be organic. Not that I eat 100% organic, but like I like to have my greens organic. You know, it's not going to be big. It's not going to be a big salad. It's not going to taste as good as I could make it. So I'll either bring a salad or I'll bring fruit. And listen, I always talk to the waiter or the hostess and I say, okay, so I am on a fruitarian diet. Okay. It's sometimes I say doctor's orders, or sometimes I say I'm allergic to
Yeah.
anything that isn't fruit. That's
Yeah.
always fun. You know, I make it weird. I like to be weird because, you know, the weirder the better.
Yeah.
And usually they'll say, "Oh, of course. You know, would you like us to cut it for you?" I bring my own plate. I bring my own fork and knife if they, you know, don't want me to use theirs, and that's okay. If by chance the restaurant doesn't want me to do that, then I don't go in the restaurant. Sorry.
And
Sorry, it's
it's
my
worth all the extra work. It's worth bringing that stuff because you feel so much better when you eat that stuff.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you know, you've got to prioritize you, number one. You're in a relationship first and foremost with yourself, not your kids, not your husband, not your wife, not your mom, not your dad. You are number one. And I believe we've all come to this planet to learn that. And not in a selfish way where we make other people suffer because of that. No, in a way that we serve ourselves first so that we can help as many other people as possible. I know, just like you do, I'm
Mhm.
sure that if I don't take care of myself, I cannot possibly do what I was born to do. I
Mhm.
cannot possibly help my friends and family as much as I want to. I can't
Mhm.
inspire people if I'm not inspired and I'm not taking care of myself. And a big part of taking care of myself is eating the things that I truly feel good about. You know, a lot of my friends, they want to be healthy, but they can't seem to do it because, like, there's temptation. You know, they live with somebody who's eating vegan processed food, or they go to restaurants and it's too tempting and they feel like they have to eat the food. But like I always tell them, you know, you're choosing your heart, right? It's hard to feel sick. It's hard to be overweight. It is hard to feel guilty about food that you eat. That is
Mhm.
hard. And, you know, we're kind of removed from the way we used to live. But if we think back, I know for sure I was always guilty. I wasn't enjoying my life eating chocolate and
Mhm.
drinking. I was drinking soda all the time, eating donuts, eating all the
Mhm.
things that I don't eat now, right? All
Mhm.
the bad foods, but I wasn't enjoying it. I was feeling guilty. I was feeling sick. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling uncomfortable in my body and I was feeling nauseous and bloated. And so you choose your heart. You can either choose a life of not eating what everyone else eats, being a little different, bringing your food places,
Mhm.
preparing food, taking the extra time. Yes, it's a little hard to be different, but it's actually hard to be the same as everybody else. So choose your heart. And that's what I always try to tell people.
Mhm. And do you have any tips maybe for somebody who wants to do the lifestyle, but they have a hard time like getting over the withdrawal for stuff like coffee or like getting over the addiction to the junk food? And it can be hard, right? You're stimulated by photos of it everywhere you go, basically now. And
Yeah.
those cravings can be very emotional and very, very difficult to deal with, especially when people have been eating that way for decades. So, any tips that come to mind for helping people like that?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say uh, just congratulate yourself for even being here on Jillian's channel, for watching this, consuming this kind of content. You, this is not an accident. You are here for a reason because you deserve to have an amazing, abundant, healthy life. Okay.
Hmm.
And so I want to just say, start there. Start being a little nicer to yourself because I understand how hard it is to be dealing with addiction to processed food, chocolate, coffee. I was certainly addicted to food, to processed food, chocolate specifically. And it gets easier. That's number one. Okay. You crave what is in your bloodstream. Okay. And so if you're eating chocolate, of course, you're going to crave more chocolate. Just like if you're an alcoholic, you know, if you're an alcoholic and you're drinking alcohol, you're going to have a very difficult time getting off that alcohol. But as anybody knows who has broken free from addiction, you have to abstain from that substance in order to start to heal and crave other things that give you pleasure. You know, as a former food addict, I have to be careful myself because I can easily fall right back into my ways of addiction, even using things like dates and raw vegan chocolate. I can't have these things in my house personally because I have an addictive personality and I don't know how to control myself. The only way that I can be happy and healthy and guilt free is to eat an abundance of food that I don't feel addicted to, which is fruit and vegetables. Now, I don't know one person. Do you know anyone who is having a addiction to fruit and vegetables that makes their life like uncomfortable and miserable and feel guilt ridden?
No, I actually don't, now that you say that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
because I don't either. And that's how I know it's our species specific food. We cannot become addicted to fruit and vegetables. But I mean,
Mm.
listen, dates are something I don't really consider that. I mean, yeah, it's a fruit, but like personally, they're kind of like they're kind of processed in my opinion. They're dried,
I
and I
know.
don't know, and
And
they're
they don't make you feel
very
as good, you know?
yeah, and they're not like I don't feel guilty when I eat dates, but I just eat too many, I noticed. And so I don't keep them in the house. But like that's the only thing that I can think of that's like the healthiest thing I might be addicted to. But I would say to start with eliminating things from your house because if it's in your house, it's going in your mouth. And
Mm.
so please take it out of your house. And if you live with people that need to eat that stuff, sit down. And this is the part, this is the healing part. This is the big thing. Start to realize that you matter and your boundaries are important. And it's part of your healing process to express your boundaries and tell your friends and family, hey, I'm having an issue with this in the house. I can't really stick to the healthy diet I want if this is in the house. Can you please eat it outside the house from now on?
So true. And I feel like that's part of being the creator of your own life and your own universe, standing up for that, prioritizing yourself. And then I feel like you might attract more things where the universe then says, okay, you're going to stand up like that, then you're going to attract better things to show you're the creator of your universe, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then once you can go from there. You know, if they love you, if your friends and family love you, your roommate or whoever you live with, your mom and dad, and you really be honest and vulnerable and tell them this, and if they still disrespect you, well, then you know that you have to change your circumstances, you know,
Mhm.
because you nobody should be disrespected like that. And you know, it starts with us though. We're disrespecting ourselves. And like so there's so many things that I want to say, but the last thing I will say about getting off of the junk food and bringing in more healthy food is that start to see hard things as good things. Okay. Doing something that's hard is actually how we build confidence and our self esteem. Because when you say you're going to do something and you do it, even when you don't feel like it, you start to trust yourself again. You're like, oh my God, okay, we got this. I can do this. I trust
Mhm.
you. You know, if you had a friend that was lying to you for 30 years, would you trust that friend? No, you would actually
Mhm.
probably not even be their friend. So I encourage everyone to do something hard today, you know, whether that is to not eat those free donuts at work and instead, you know, go buy some fruit or even better yet, bring fruit because, you
Mhm.
know, you got to prepare in this lifestyle. That's like one of the biggest tips that I can tell you. Prepare, bring your food. And oftentimes I will find things that I can eat, smoothies and juices and fruit, but I'll always have fruit with me because that is what I eat and I got to be prepared. The world does not revolve around me. The world did not
Yeah.
change when I went raw, right?
So
And
true.
so and so
Preparation is key. You're so right.
yeah, so that's what I would say. Start there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you've been so amazing. I just love everything you've had to say. And I know for sure my viewers have gained value from this. So that's always my goal. And I'm just wondering, where can everybody find you? And if you feel called to leave any last words, then absolutely go ahead. If nothing comes to mind, that's okay too. And again, thanks so much for being on.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. Yes, so people can find me at Misfit Vegan, ms.fitvegan on Instagram. I also do a YouTube, same thing, Misfit Vegan. I do have a free recipe book that I would love to give your viewers, if that's
For
okay.
sure. Absolutely.
So you can go to 100freerecipes.com. It is a free, completely free, 100 raw vegan recipes. There's no oil, no salt, there's no dehydrator required, and every single recipe contains 5 ingredients or less. The
Wow.
reason is because I eat very, very simple. I don't actually love to be in the kitchen. I'm not a chef. I'm not one of these like famous like raw
Yeah.
vegan chefs.
Me too. Me
And
too. Yeah.
and so I keep it very simple, but I need it to be delicious because if it doesn't
Mhm.
taste good, I'm not going to eat it. And so
Mhm.
I would love if everybody could go there, check it out if you feel called to, if you want some more amazing recipes in your life, not just fruit. Yeah, most of them are fruit based, but there's a lot of savory recipes in there, dressings and smoothies and green juice as well. And yeah, that's where you
Yeah.
can find me.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again so much. I think you're so awesome. And I've truly loved and enjoyed this.
Thank you so much. I love talking to you. I love connecting with like minded people that are always trying to learn and better themselves every day. It really inspires me. And so thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, no worries. And that's a benefit of this lifestyle. You just meet and attract so many
Right?
amazing people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to you guys, the viewers, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I hope it gave some value to your day. And if it did, give it a big thumbs up right now. Make sure you subscribe if you don't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.